What is going on, everyone? Hope all of you are doing well. I wanted to give you guys the top five biopics I would like to see in my biopic wish list. I am a fan of biopics, and not only that, I'm also a fan of musicals, as well as a fan of, the combination of live action and animation together, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Cool World, and things like that. And we've gotten a lot of biopics throughout the year, whether that's on a historical figure, um, a musician or a band or even an actor. There's always going to be some type of biopic, and there's still stories I feel like need to be told. Some biopics I would personally like to see. So I figured I would give you guys the top five that I would like to see. And this was really difficult because there's so many actors, bands, musicians. I mean, the list goes on. So many that are out there, and I feel like are long overdue for a specific type of biopic. I mean, look at the biopics we have: musicians, actors. I mean, even in some way, even serial killers are getting movies on them, and there's so many variants out there as well. So it was really difficult to try to come up with a list. Well, the best way I wanted to do it was kind of categorize it, maybe focus on a historical figure or event, an actor, a musician, and something like that. So I hope you guys will, you know, like my list. It's just my opinion, my list. It's not anything, you can agree or disagree. I mean, you can agree or disagree on, so it's not like it has to be, but these are just like my personal choices I would like to see. So at number five is a biopic I would like to see on one of my favorite bands, and that is Duran Duran. Duran Duran is a fun 80s, I guess you could say 80s pop group, 80s hair pop group. I don't know what you want to call them. But they've had so many great singles: Girl on Films, Hungry Like the Wolves. I mean, the list goes on. Rio. I mean, there's just, if you think of Duran Duran, you could think of so many different hits. Excuse me. And I feel like they're long overdue for a biopic. I mean, there's bands out there like Def Leppard who got one in the early 2000s. Motley Crue got one not too long ago. So I feel like Duran Duran is long overdue. It would be a really cool story to see how they got started and became the big band that they were in the 80s, and how they came up with the hits. I think it would just be a fun movie where it would definitely be like a time capsule because they could do so much with the 80s. Um, the 80s pop culture, just all the vibrant colors and just the style, the fashion. I mean, it would be a really cool movie. And in a way, you can not only make it a biopic, but in another way, make it a musical. You can have them, like, almost in the same way as um, uh, Bohemian Rhapsody. You could have like these small, short, little musical numbers throughout the film. So I think it would be cool. So yeah, number five is Duran Duran. At number four, I wanted to go with something with history. Now we've had a lot in the way of history, whether it's based on events or historical figures. We just had Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix. We have gotten, Princess Diana, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. We've had who else? I mean, there's just so many historical figures. Even presidents have gotten movies, but I feel like there are still people in history, whether it's based on a real life event or it's based on a specific figure. And I would like to see a biopic on Sir Isaac Newton. something I don't think I've seen before. And if there is a biopic out there, let me know. But from at least what I know, I don't think there is a Sir Isaac Newton biopic. He is definitely one I would personally like to see. Um, a very important historical figure when we tend to talk about a lot. So, I think he is long overdue for a biopic for sure. It doesn't have to be like 2 hours. If you can cram it into an hour and a half type of movie, then it would be worth it. I think it would get people, to check it out. Um, so yeah, I think it would be really cool to, you know, really cool to watch. The set pieces would look great. It would visually look stunning. I mean, excuse me, that type of, the type of setting with that, I think would work really, really well. So, and again, like I said, if there is a biopic, please let me know. I'm sure there is, but I would like to see maybe a newer biopic, and if there isn't, then yeah, let's get a Sir Isaac Newton biopic. So that's number four. Number three. Number three, I decided to go with a musician, one of my favorite singers. He started out in a band, then eventually went on solo, and that is Ozzy Osbourne. Now, it's been rumored that Ozzy is supposed to be getting a biopic. I think it would be perfect to have him get a biopic. He's got an interesting story. He does. He just everything about him has always been interesting. He's been a very down, kind to earth type of dude. I've never got the opportunity to see him in concert, and unfortunately, I probably never will. Which it sucks. But he was my childhood. Growing up, my father had plenty of Black Sabbath albums, plenty of Ozzy albums, DVDs, VHS tapes. I mean, my dad's a hardcore fan, so I think he's long overdue. I don't know why we still don't have one. I know there's an actor and a singer I feel like would work perfectly to portray this, to portray Ozzy. Now, you could have the one actor play Ozzy and then have the musician do the voice, like the singing, if they can get it down right. But I would definitely like to see Youngblood be part because he is a big Ozzy fan. I think Ozzy has a lot of influence on him. I know there was a interview on a podcast that Sharon and Kelly have interviewing Youngblood, and Youngblood had a lot of similarities to Ozzy, so that would be perfect. And if you've seen the film The Dirt, the Netflix film, the biopic on Motley Crue, there's an actor who actually plays Ozzy Osbourne in that and looks just like young Ozzy back in the 80s. So I think that actor would be perfect. So if you can pull like a Bohemian Rhapsody where, the actor lip syncs, then I think it would work out perfectly. Or you could just use the audio, but you would have to make it clean to the point where it sounds natural and it doesn't sound like, when he sings, you could tell it's been recorded like it's old audio. So, but yeah, Ozzy Osbourne is my number three. Number two. Number two, a little hard, but I decided to go with an actress. So there are so many actresses out there who have had excellent careers, and I mean excellent. But then it's like, who is worthy enough to have their own biopic of a film? Who really stands out in my mind as an actress who, you know, deserves a biopic in some way? And it was hard. I really had to really think about this because, let's be honest, Marilyn Monroe has so many different biopics out there. So I knew right away I wasn't going to pick her. I thought about picking somebody older. There's, Judy Garland had one. But then I figured it out and decided to go with someone who I am related to, and that is Katharine Hepburn. Katharine Hepburn has had a slew of films. Very talented actress. And to give you guys a little history, I am related to her. I am cousins with her, so I am related to her on her mom's side. When I was doing a lot, when I first found out that I was related to her, I actually did research, and I found out that my great grandfather and her mother were first cousins. So I never got the opportunity to meet her, which is unfortunate. I kind of, watching interviews and things like that, I kind of got the impression that, you know, personality changes when you start to make good money and things like that. That's kind of what I've gotten from her through interviews and things like that. So, like when my grandfather passed away, she wasn't there or anything like that. I don't even know how close my grandfather and her were. Um, I don't know if it was kind of like, oh, she got famous, pretend you don't exist type of thing. I don't know. But I do know that doing my research that her mom and my grandfather, were cousins. And I believe that would make her and my grandfather second cousins. So yeah, she's like a fifth, sixth type of cousin, but she's still related to me. My grandfather's last name was Houghton, and her mom's maiden name was Houghton. And so I'm not sure if her would be her grandfather or her grandmother, who is related to one of my great grandfather's parents. So I haven't dug through that, at least that far, but from what the knowledge I've seen, I don't think there's a Katharine Hepburn biopic out there. I could be wrong. Again, I'm just kind of going with what I know, but I would like to see a biopic. And would really like to, learn more about her. I have done some research on her to some extent. Um, yeah, so, and it's crazy to think because that makes you realize that I have family out there I've never even met, you know? But I do see where the entrepreneur comes because it comes on both sides of my family. So that I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Katharine Hepburn is definitely one I'd like to see. And no, she is not related to Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn actually had to change her last name during World War II because Audrey Hepburn was Jewish, and excuse me, and at that time we all know what was going on. So she actually had to change her name. So, yeah, a lot of people have always thought that Katharine Hepburn and Audrey Hepburn are related. They are not. Katharine Hepburn is actually Katharine Hepburn. That is her natural name. Audrey Hepburn is not her real name. It's her stage name. But I think eventually she had to legally change it to some extent. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, she is my number two. My number one. Um, Number one was going to be a little difficult because I had all these other categories. Duran Duran as the band, Katharine Hepburn as the actress, Sir Isaac Newton. Um, so it was like, okay, I've got the historical event with Sir Isaac Newton. I've got the band with Duran Duran. I've got the actress with Katharine Hepburn. Um, I've got Ozzy Osbourne. So who do I pick for number five? So after thinking really, really hard on it, I would like to see a biopic on Brandon Lee. Now, we've got a biopic on Bruce, I think a couple, and then a bunch of documentaries. But what we don't have is Brandon. We don't know what Brandon's life was like before The Crow. We knew of some of the films that he had done, but that was pretty much it. What type of person was he? I mean, we all know that he was a very down to earth type of person. If you go to conventions and work with anybody who's worked, you met, the celebrities that have worked with him, like Ernie Hudson, and the list goes on. Uh, they'll all tell you how really great he was. I had watched another YouTuber, the Italian Stallion 51, Fabio. He had gone to a convention and actually met the actress who played Sarah in the first movie, and she shared stories with him on how, sweet and caring Brandon was during the filming, especially with her. She shared the story how they would, when they had specific scenes that they weren't filming together, they would be taking turns playing the Game Boy. I think they were playing Tetris or something like that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And you could tell from the interviews how caring he is, how calm, and he just seems like a type of person who doesn't take life for granted. He appreciates the small things. And unfortunately, we lost him too soon. Someone who really had a bright future ahead of him. And for some odd reason, we just don't have a biopic on him. I would like to see a biopic. I think his story is interesting to tell. The question is who do you get to play him? To me, it's going to come down to a actor who almost looks just like him in some way. I think with enough makeup and hair being done or something like that, we can get an opportunity to see what he can truly bring, and see if we can have somebody that looks just like him to some extent. But yeah, so Brandon Lee is my number one choice for a biopic. So, guys, those are the 5 biopics I would like to see. Let me know what your thoughts are. I do apologize if this video I went on rambling a little bit, but I want to know your thoughts. What do you guys think? You guys agree? Let me know what you would like. Which biopic would you like to see? Who are the celebrities out there? Band, actors, actresses, historical figures. Let me know in the comment section down below. But with that being said, I'm Phil Talk with Mikey. Don't forget to give this video a like, share it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you guys pretty soon. You guys take care. Peace.